Hello, it's System Overview time. Now, if you've been watching my recent gameplay videos, you might be wondering what the hell is a SORD or CGL M5? It's one of these. That is an 8-bit home computer made by SORD Computer Corporation. It was released in Japan in 1982 and in the UK and Czechoslovakia in 1983. CPU is a Z80A at 3.58 megahertz. I've got it on the computer screen over there. I haven't memorized all this stuff. It came out at a time when, well, you got the Sinclair Spectrum, you got the VIC-20, you got the Acorn Atom. Largely these systems were either on a par or, in the case of the Spectrum, superior to it. So it struggled. And then the MSX computers came out, wiped the floor with it. In performance terms, the hardware is very similar. The colour palette, the processing power and everything, very much like an MSX. Yeah, it was released in the UK for £195, which basically no one was going to buy it, and no one did, which is why lots of people have never heard of it, never seen it. They had a pretty short production run. Let's have a look at it. You've got a rubber keyboard. It's squishy, like a Spectrum keyboard. And it runs cartridges here. It's kind of odd. They've got that case to protect, I don't know, dust cover, whatever, which is cool. Except, if you're going to do anything with it, you've got to put a cartridge in. That goes in there. And yeah. Unfortunately, that will then sometimes get knocked and flap about on it, and if you so much as touch this, it will crash. I have crashed this. I destroyed a cartridge, unfortunately. I knocked my hand against it, and it killed the cartridge. We've got a whole load of stuff here. Key operations, lowercase function +1, uppercase function plus caps. So, I mean, yeah. Caution when loading and unloading a program cartridge, always make sure the power is first turned off. Yeah, nah. It's a novel design feature. It looks nice, but it is kind of pointless in that you can't load anything from tape without that cartridge in it, which then makes it messy and clunky and just asking to be knocked about. On the back, we have got power. Let's try and get some light on here. Yeah, power socket, cassette input. It's a multi-pin type thing, which you probably can't see. There we go. What's this? Printer. Left and right controllers. I'll show you them in a second. They're strange multi-pin thingamajigs as well. Audio and video out, and RF out, which it's interesting that you've got those and those, so I imagine you'll get better quality off of them. I haven't tried them. Yeah, so that's that. For a comparison, it's a little bit bigger than a Spectrum 48K, but as a lot of people outside of the UK might not even be familiar with that. Here's a VIC-20. As you can see, this is really quite tiny. And those who aren't familiar with the VIC-20, it's exactly the same size as a Commodore 64. So, that's the M5. What do you get with it? Power supply is a great big brick. It's quite heavy. This, in terms of size and weight, is about on a par with a original Xbox. It's big, clunky, it gets very hot. you get 2 of these. These are the controllers. You'll get 2, you'll wish you hadn't got any. These are rubbish. Anyone who's used a Mattel Intellivision controller and found it awkward and unresponsive will realise that they're actually doing quite well when they try to use one of these, because look up unresponsive in a dictionary. You'll see a picture of one of these. It's awful. It's nice that you actually get a controller with it. I mean, what comes in the box is quite impressive. You get the computer, you get the power supply and all the leads, you get 2 of these. The fact that they're rubbish is a downside. You also get this, which is the official SORD tape deck. Does it have a... Yeah, remote control, mic, there, volume and tone controls on that side. Power supply goes there. It doesn't come with a power supply. I don't think. I don't have one sitting here, but yeah, it will run on batteries. I don't use this. I haven't used it. I've got another tape recorder that I use for all of my computers that need a tape recorder, just because it's uber reliable and works. This works, but I don't use it. That's neither here nor there. So, yeah, it is an interesting piece of kit. There is the software library is very small, because no one bought them, because everything that was out already was better, and then MSXs came out which were more or less the same but better. Yeah, it didn't sell. So software, nah. There are a few cartridge based games that are kind of hard to come by over here. Those are, well, the best one I've got is Super Cobra by Konami. Yeah, so I mean, some big names did actually produce games for it. And I have a load of tape games, and the tape games have to use the basic cartridge, and they are rubbish. Absolutely rubbish. Probably about the cassette library, I think there are about 20 games altogether, I think. Yeah, but it's not good. That's about all I can tell you, really. It's an interesting piece of kit. In terms of something, if you want to buy hardware to play, you probably don't want one of these, but if you do want something that's a rarity and an interesting curiosity, these are quite good. Value now, I was looking at one on eBay, and it had a buy it now price of £175, which I thought was quite a lot of money, really. £195 brand new. They do seem to command quite a high price just because they're quite rare. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think I paid a lot for this. I think I paid £50 quite a few years ago. Yeah, they do seem to demand quite a high price now. That's about all I can tell you about it. History and other stuff, look it up. CGL SORD M5, interesting Japanese British release, 8-bit computer. Thank you for watching.